They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hey guys, what is up? It is Seatin here, hello and welcome. So today I'm doing something a tad different to what I usually do. So basically I've just got a message from this guy called TommyGuns04 on Reddit, and he basically says, hey Seatin, I apologize if you get bombarded with questions and stuff, but I need a bit of help soloing the Queen's Gambit Chronicle on my Cleric. Now I'm fairly freshly geared, I've got a few epic crafted stuff, a few pieces from experts, and I'm just having a bit of a struggle getting past the second boss in this chronicle. I was wondering if you could point me in the right direction with a spec, and also give me a bit of guidance on how to solo both of the bosses. So in today's video I'm going to be quickly running through Queen's Gambit and giving some pro hints and tips on how to solo bosses really effectively, and hopefully it can help, you know, Genoa at Wolfsbane, or TommyGuns04 out, as, you know, his Reddit name is. So whichever one you want to be called, I'm going to call you Genoa from now on, just in reference to this video. So just quickly before I pull the first boss, I just wanted to point out the spec that I'm using. It's my Lawbreaker build, which was originally a kind of parody build, but it's turned out to be quite effective for those who don't have Storm Legion souls. So it's 61 Inquisitor, 9 Cabalist, and 6 Justicar, and I'll give a link to that building guide in the description of this video if you want to sort of read into it further. So in regards to the first boss, he's fairly straightforward. He only has a total of 3 mechanics. You basically have to try and pull him over as many vents as possible, because these deal about 20% of his health every time a vent does erupt. They'll start flashing purple, and then 5 seconds after that they'll erupt, dealing damage, and ideally you want to deal as much damage to the boss as you can with these. Now the second thing he will cast is a frontal cone called Shock Blast, and basically for that you just need to run behind him or stay behind him if you already are. And finally he'll cast Whirling Steel, which basically means you just need to run away from him. It's a big AoE bubble that he does, or Steel Whirl actually, as it's called. So just run away from him, and yeah, it's fairly straightforward and easy to do. Nobody should have too much problem with that boss as long as you run behind him. I believe the main killer on that boss is the Shock Blast that he does. So, because I'm stupendously lazy, I am running to the second boss, just mounting up, and then you'll notice I run just a bit further than where the bosses are, just due to the fact that will reset the trash, and that means that I don't have to kill them. So, just having a look at my gear, I'm going to take off a piece or two, just to get me down to sort of the level that TommyGuns04 is on as a freshly geared cleric. He does mention he has about 17k health, so I'm just going to sort of take off, you know, a big chunk of my gear, like my sigil. That gives me a large chunk of stats. Let's take off the shoulders, the neck, the gloves, and I think that should almost put me. I'll get rid of the cape as well, might as well, and so yeah, I'm about the level that I presume Tommy Guns is. I may be slightly better geared, I may be slightly worse geared, I don't know. But I'm just going to hopefully demonstrate how easy it is to do. So you'll notice I'm sort of switching between the two and dotting them up. Now, there are two main things that will cause you to take huge amounts of damage when fighting these two. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that Croc is constantly swiping down at the ground, and you basically need to keep on moving to avoid that. The second thing is Ock will occasionally cast something called Focus Shard. This has something like a 10-second cast. Basically, you need to switch to Ock and interrupt this. Now, it's ideally best to sort of interrupt it as late as possible. That way he's not doing his auto attack damage as well, which in all honesty doesn't deal that much, but it's just that little bit less damage that you're taking if you're low geared that you'll want to aim for. But as you can see, guys, you know, my health isn't really going anywhere, and I'm not using self heals or anything, so it's really not a problem in all honesty. So part of that, it's fairly straightforward, guys. Just move out of the AoE and interrupt the Focus Shard. It does require you to be fairly reactive, but once you get used to it, then it's fairly easy. It'll take maybe a couple of tries, and the most important thing is you do need to keep them within 10% health of each other. It's alright to go a bit out of 10% health, because at 1 stack of the Enrage debuff that they aren't too much hassle, but if they get any more than that, they can start hitting extremely hard, especially on low geared players. So moving on to the last boss, which is Mistress Anira, or Inyir Katar as she transforms into. As you can see, I'm going to be staying in sort of my fairly mixed substitute sort of starter level 60 gear, just to give you an idea of how a starter level 60 cleric might, you know, manage this boss with their, you know, damage output, healing output, etc. So as you can see, I start off by sort of blowing most of my cooldowns. I try to interrupt Terror Burst when possible, just because I believe that is the hardest hitting spell that she does that is interruptible, and I've got free off GCD interrupt, so you know I might as well interrupt something, but then again it doesn't hit overly hard. So you'll notice that Tazul is casting a healing aura, which is sort of the dragon alongside you. Now ideally, you want to stand in that if your health is about below 50%, but I'm pretty damn lazy and I kind of just avoided it for some reason. So, yeah, it's just constant nuking in your Katar, spawning avoiding the little crystals that are spawning, and when she casts Charge Shard, which is the big purple shard that will sort of expand and then eventually explode, you have to absolutely peg it behind the other side of the giant pillar in the middle to line of sight it, or that will unfortunately one-shot you. So that's really the main mechanic that you have to deal with there. As you can see, the damage apart from that is fairly negligible. I'm not having to use my Doctrine of Bliss to top me up, so it makes for a fairly easy burst down of this boss. So that is it for the guide, guys. You can see it's fairly easy even when you're not so geared, as long as you sort of understand the mechanics and what is going on, etc. So hopefully, Genoa at Wolfsbane, you could pick up a trick or two from this video. If not, then if there's anything else I can help you with, let me know. I hope this was of some use to yourself, and you can use this guide to go on and become victorious in the Queen's Gambit Chronicle. Once again, guys, I happily do your video requests when I can, but just as a heads up, if you're watching this and you're sort of a dedicated fan of the channel, I am on vacation for the entire, well, I go on vacation tomorrow morning, essentially. So this is the last video I'm going to do in probably about a week. But when I come back, literally, I've got some really, really exciting stuff for you guys. I can't say too much yet, but trust me, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you want to be. You really do want to be. Thank you once again for watching. Take care, and feel free to like the video. Have a good day.